The terrifying future of games. It's like that meme where there's two guys in the gallows and one looks at the other and says, first time? Yeah, this is not our first time for sure.
Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and we are diving into what I believe is the most important article to drop this year for video games, and that's from Wired. It's depicting a
Well, if it's from Wired, I guess I'll just believe blindly. Also, is it me or the audio is off?
very terrifying future for video games where it's based on a subject matter I'm incredibly passionate about. We've talked about it a lot here on this channel, as well as on Defining Duke and Xbox podcast, and that is the usage of generative AI content in video game development. My increasing concern is as we're seeing this industry bleed important talent, and we're not really growing that pool any further because
How could they be important talent if modern games are so bad, honestly? And how can they be important talent that just gets let go? It doesn't make sense now, does it?
no one wants to work here since job security is at an all-time low with layoffs constantly happening and studios being shuttered. We're now seeing software begin to replace people. When we've talked about this in the past, guilty as charged, it's always been a wait and see approach. How are some companies going to handle the usage of generative AI content? Well, that future is here. I thought we'd be
Oh no, our purple-haired woke writer for our game that we're making that wants to insert 15 gay characters and a lot more stuff that no one asked for or no one wants and no one cares about is gonna be replaced by AI that's not gonna do that. Oh no, the horror.
waiting a while for this, but it's here and it's happening now. And this article paints it out for us on how it's already affecting people, but also how content has already been delivered to us that's been made by software, not human hands. Now, I'm incredibly passionate about this topic because I feel like art comes from humans. I say that with all due respect. I think AI can be very useful in video game development to eliminate tedious parts of the process. As someone who's working on a game themselves, there are just parts that are mind-numbing, boring, and not creatively engaging. And I absolutely think AI can be
Okay, so 1 minute 25 seconds in and already the worst argument towards not using AI has already been made. AI is bad, but using AI to get rid of tedious tasks is good. You are still most likely replacing someone if you use AI to even get rid of the tedious tasks. Without AI, that task would have maybe been done by a person that needs money to survive and all the sad and crying emoji, tear face, enduring things. Okay? If you are allowing any AI, you have already failed the argument. Because it doesn't matter how much AI you use in something, the usage of it just means that someone is either not getting paid or someone is getting paid less and their job security is now lower because they have to work less. You can't accept made a little bit AI work.
used in a positive way in those parts of development. It can ease the lift for smaller teams to do something big and ambitious. Like, hey, even on the artistic side, I'm not advocating for it, but I can understand why a small team would want to use AI to generate concept art because it allows them to move to the next step a little bit quicker of creating in-game assets. So there are usages for all team sizes, but my increasing worry.
So yeah, by saying that, you literally just removed artists from the market because now the artists are not going to be paid to make concept art. God, I love this argument so much. It just falls. The typical AI bad argument falls apart so fast when you're like, oh, think about the losers who are bad at their jobs being replaced by AI. Think of the talentless hacks that want to ruin your games.
Here is that the leaders, the supposed leaders of our industry, are looking at ways to eliminate important jobs in the games industry and make this a place that's not really welcoming for new talent. So while we're also bleeding this talent away that's current and sustaining the games industry, we're not really inviting new ones in. And it really scares me because I worry about a future where
I'm sorry, look at some of the biggest companies that are currently responsible for gaming. Blizzard Entertainment, half their people are talentless idiots. Look at Ubisoft. Literally 90% woke women that are willing to destroy anything. Look at Hollywood, an absolute shit show of zero talent. Okay? No, we have already lost all of the talent.
No one wants to come in.
Oh, and Bethesda. Literally, I believe they have not a single person who is even capable of doing a proper job at this point. It's not even funny.
And so the software is here to stay to make us all of our future games. And I know that's a very bleak outlook, and there are ways that people are fighting back, but you need to be aware of this. And so that's what this video is designed to do. And don't worry, it will end on a somewhat positive note. But first, I want to set the table before getting into this article, because we've seen a lot of murmuring around the industry, really all over the place. It began with the finals, which used AI text to speech.
Literally didn't ask, didn't care.
Because they said they could produce lines in a matter of hours rather than months. And this was something that did surprise a lot of voice actors and actresses when this statement came out. They were really confused by the matter because it's really about the development pipeline, and lines could come in quick if that's how things were rolling. But they just wanted to use AI to pump content as quickly as possible with voice work based around it. Now, the finals was quickly forgiven for this because otherwise the game was really
I have no idea what the hell is this supposed to be. Is this Apex Legends?
fun and different. And that's
No,
when you're
right?
introduced to what I call the case-by-case basis. How much are you willing to ignore? For me personally, as someone who's passionate about the subject, I would prefer real voices, but I think the finals did enough unique things in the first-person shooter space, especially all that environmental destruction, where I still managed to have a good time, even if I was a little bit jaded about the usage of AI voices. But one of the leaders in pushing into AI is Microsoft, where they said they're going to integrate its Copilot AI into Xbox and PC games. Game developer breaks it down saying during its Microsoft
God, I can't wait until Microsoft does it and the AI is trained on Reddit and everyone gets banned in a nanosecond because everyone's evil and bad.
Surface and AI event, the tech giant showed off how the AI tool could be applicable to games. Per Windows Central, the presentation featured Minecraft with the tool directly embedded in the game. Players can use Copilot to ask things like, how do I craft a sword? At which point, the tool helps them find the needed components. It basically works like an always online game guide, or the PlayStation 5's non-AI powered help system. Minecraft is the first game to have Copilot integrated within it, but it sounds like it'll ultimately be within other games. It's unclear if this is being done with first-party Xbox titles to begin with. And while Copilot was formally unveiled last year, Microsoft plans to use AI in the Xbox ecosystem in more recent. Gen AI-powered tools are being eyed for narrative design and writing, and an AI chatbot is being looked at to help with customer service. And you can see that here.
Well, considering that gold buying websites have better customer service than Blizzard, sure, why not replace those people with AI?
Announced on the Microsoft blog that Xbox and InWorld AI partner to empower game creators with the potential of generative AI, where they say together we aim to deliver an accessible, responsibly designed multi-platform AI toolset to assist and empower creators in dialogue, story, and quest design. The toolset will include an AI design co-pilot that assists and empowers game designers to explore more creative ideas, turning prompts into detailed scripts, dialogue trees, quests, and more, an AI character runtime engine that can be integrated into the game client, enabling entirely new narratives.
Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with his audio.
With dynamically generated stories, quests, and dialogue for players to experience. This is really the perfect storm for me because I'm really passionate about generative AI usage in game development, and especially as a writer, this in particular irks me because I believe writing and art.
Bro, listen, you think the Fallout TV show is good writing, okay? You are as much of a writer as I am the Queen of England, okay?
Really drive the whole process. Of course, all of these coalesce alongside music and the gameplay to make the experience. But in my experience working on games, writing really drives the vision. It depicts everything from the art to the gameplay to the music to the feel.
Oh, really?
To the world.
Wow.
And the idea of Xbox and Microsoft advocating that we have tool sets that are going to design narratives for you. What's so important to me about writing is that I think a lot of it is defined.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Who would you rather choose? The Assassin's Creed Shadows lead writer, who is a self-described, dedicated, black master race slam pig, or AI? Huh? Huh? Self-dedicated slam pig? AI? Huh? Huh? Yeah, I'm going with AI. 100 times out of 100, I'm going with AI.
by world experience. What have you gone through in your life that has brought you to this point? And how much of that are you going to pour into this character, this quest, this interaction, this world, this town, village, city, this interaction, etc., etc.? And I think that drives great writing is sometimes sadness, sometimes happiness, the emotions you're feeling, combined with your world
Okay, listen, humans made The Last of Us Part 1 and humans made The Last of Us Part 2, okay?
views. How are you viewing certain sensitive subjects? How are you incorporating that into your writing in a way that feels natural with the characters that are speaking and interacting and the situation going on around them? When you have a machine at the head of all of that, obviously that doesn't really make for a personalized experience where you can connect with someone's thoughts as a creative and get into what they were thinking or feeling during that point in time. What drove this character interaction? That sense of discovery, that emotion is gone. Now, it's not just Xbox. PlayStation's looking into it too, saying that AI is important to Gen Z and Gen Alpha gamers who want personalization across everything. EA Studios are apparently hungering to start using generative AI as quickly as possible.
Gen Z and Gen whatever don't even know left from right. They don't have any idea what they want. And that is the worst thing ever. Because if companies cater to Gen Z and whatnot and make slop, the problem is the reason why we are so anti this modern gaming bullshit is because we have played good games not past. This is a lot of games with great stuff, and I have given this as an example, which is absolutely great. Starfield. It's a complete shit show. It's a completely bad game. There are absolutely no aspects of Starfield that are even worth keeping in any other game or looking to implement better. It's just a disaster all around. No story, no quests, no explorations, too many loading screens, bad weapons, bad crafting, bad design, bad dialogues, bad main story, bad everything. There is not a single good thing about it. And yet, some people unironically think it's good. And the reason that they think it's good is because, well, what if you're some kind of 12-year-old COD player who has only played COD and never played anything else? Suddenly you get slop like Starfield, and it's actually good. Because this is your first experience with something like this, and you're amazed. Wow, dialogue options, mind blown. And everyone else who has played, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, but all older games of similar nature, and know what actually good story based games are, good role playing games are looking at it like Starfield like absolute shit, like slop. But someone who has not experienced these things, they're looking at the like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is the first time I experienced this much freedom. Even though we know that that freedom is not existential, it's completely on the rails. And well, giving bad experiences like this to newer generations is going to drastically lower the bar.
Where the CEO of EA has said, we've done analysis across all of our development processes, and right now, based on our early assessment, we believe that more than 50% of our development processes will be positively impacted by the advances in generative AI, Wilson said in response to a question about the technology. And we've got teams across the company that are really looking to execute against that. And then Wilson thinks that with 40 years worth of proprietary data to feed into generative AI models, EA will increase efficiency over the next 3 years, and within 5 years or sooner, take things further by using AI in those efficiency gains to build bigger worlds with more characters and more interesting storylines. Nintendo says...
So, again, AI is going to happen at some point. It's an inevitability at this point. It's like Thanos. But as Thanos, it's going to lose at the end. Because when generative AI is actually going to be good enough to create all of these games and whatnot, at the start, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe all over again until Endgame. It's going to be great. But it's going to go way faster than that. That is one. Because generative AI is going to be able to pump out these games. And when it's going to pump out these games in a year, 2 or 3, maybe 4 or maybe even 5, Everyone's gonna come really fast to the conclusion. Wait a minute, this game from EA is the exact same game as from Ubisoft. And yeah, everything in it is the same because this is going to be the problem with generative AI. If there are no humans left to actually put inputs in there, it's going to get stale. It's going to condense down everything, formulate it, and well, just churn out copies of copies with very minor divergences amongst each other, and we're going to catch on to that real fast, and it's going to be real bad and boring. But we're gonna probably have a year or two, or maybe even 3, of really good gaming, so who gives a shit?
Generative AI can be used in creative ways, but they were smart to kind of dodge the question and say it highlights IP issues, as in you can accidentally copy something because this is coming from a machine that's going to generate ideas through past ideas, so it's not really going to create anything original. I envision that AI is going to impact game development so much that at certain points, it's going to be a marketing statement to say that your game is AI free. I think of it a lot like organic foods. I think of it a lot like no artificial sweeteners. That's kind of what's going to happen. It's going to be a food label style game development environment where you're going to have games that are handcrafted, humans only sort of approach. And there's going to be a sense of pride in that, but also people are going to run and support that. I think AAA is hoping to pull the wool over your eyes, while indie is likely willing to do the hard work to earn your attention, to earn your favor, to earn your love, because you're doing something the others are not. And I'm really curious to see who wins out. I think what AAA is banking on is ignorance being bliss, that people are going to experience this thing, really like it, and then find out later, oh, that was AI.
Hey, it kind of has been proven that that works.
And that is the goal, to do that over and over, because if that happens, then people will loosen up on what AI.
Listen, if I get a good game, I'm never gonna ask, was this made by AI, because I simply will not care. Listen, why would I care if I'm getting a good game that I like and enjoy and it's AI? Why the hell would I care?
Can do. I have no issues with AI being used as an assistant. As someone who does a lot of level building, there are parts of that process that outright suck. I can't stand it at times, even if it's very gratifying watching it all come together with the lighting, the color grading, and all that stuff. Watching it all come together, plus the music, feels really good. But there are parts with terrain building and landscaping that are just a little bit tiresome. And I'd love to sometimes click a button and just have it be done so I could focus my creative energy on things like script writing, art, music, etc., etc. That stuff is incredibly important to me, not just making a landscape look very natural with the rest of the world based on what paths I've decided the map will be walkable with. So there are parts of game development that I think AI can really assist in, right? Getting rid of the busy work so creatives can focus on certain aspects without eliminating jobs. Like, there's a way for these two to coexist. I can even understand a world where Ubisoft's Ghostwriter is a little bit useful in that you can have these dynamic open world barks that create a little bit of life in your world as you focus on the
Man, no, this is intense gameplay.
main story and side content. Would I do that? Hell no. But can I see an understanding for that? Maybe. That's the furthest I would go in the terms of writing, because even then, I think those little interactions, those bits of personality are so important. I think the more you water that down, the worse gaming gets. So I know this has been a really long setup for the real meat of the video, but yeah, we're in a time where
There's meat in this video? Huh. Okay.
this is something big companies across the board are chomping at the bit to use, and you need to be aware of that. Because as I mentioned at the top of this video, it's here now, as The Wired wrote in this article titled "AI is already taking jobs in the video game industry." When Noah saw the email, a wave of anxiety hit. It was spring 2023, and the Activision artist was reading a message from the company's then chief technology officer, Michael Vance, about how artificial intelligence, or AI, was top of mind at the video game publisher. Systems were still being tested, Vance wrote, but what we have seen thus
I mean, everyone knows that everyone was talking about AI a couple of years ago when GPT-4 came out. Yeah?
far holds a ton of promise. There have been a couple of emails like this sent to employees of the studio, which produces the juggernaut Call of Duty series. A previous one had approved the internal use of generative AI tools Midjourney and Stable Diffusion for producing concept art. This already sucks because, in my experience, Concept art is really the backbone of everything. Now, there are some artists.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so, bro. Concept art is backbone. Yeah, sure, sure, yeah, sure, okay, sure. Not the idea, not the execution, not the people behind it, but the concept art. Ugh. Okay, I don't care about the meat and potatoes here. You know what? That was Mr. Matty Plays. AI, evil, blah, blah, blah. I'm out. Later, boys.